In the decades since then, I have dreamed of going back there to that house. 94 Old Meeting House Road, East Falmouth, Massachusetts, 02536. 617-548-6545. I lived the first 22 years of my life thinking this was home. In these dreams, there is always someone else living in the house, and I am not really allowed to go inside and remain for long. Very unsettling. It has taken years for me to get over the fact that the man who took our house did so for the sake of greed. He was a predatory lender that took advantage of a mother who was trying her best to dig her way out from under the financial burden she assumed from her divorce. One of the things that has come to me is that the universe uses everyone. Everyone is a tool of the universe. One has the choice of being a conscious tool or not. In this case, the universe used this man and the sheriff to evict us from our past. And somehow this was important for our greater soul development. Campbell's book helped me see these earth-shaking and life-changing events as part of my own journey of the hero, and to see beyond the particular circumstances of the events, to recognize the truth of my journey, not to remain attached to the setting or even the players, but to recognize there is a greater journey unfolding, and to witness that is really the purpose of it all. Because as I've come to realize in witnessing the unfolding, we also witness the source of the unfolding, which brings us back to the truth of our existence as infinite children of the divine. It is the only thing that makes sense. It is the only context in which everything makes sense. For the first 20 years after we lost the house, I dreamed of becoming wealthy enough to buy back our house. At first it was for my mom, and then it was as a personal statement of eventual triumph. I even thought about buying the whole block and turning it into a healing center. But as time wore on, I realized it was unnecessary. It would have been like trying to put new wine into old bottles. We had each grown beyond that neighborhood. Our lives were bigger and wider now. It would have been nothing more than a nostalgic home to be stopped through on occasion. And when I realized the truth of this and let this desire go, I stopped having the dreams recur so much. Now when I have a dream about the old house, I know it's usually a message about holding on to the past. One summer when I was in high school, I was browsing in the paperback booksmith in the Cape Cod Mall. And from the dollar table, I picked up a book and opened its pages, and after 15 minutes of reading, finally spent the $1 for the book. I was very cheap and frugal back then, which has taken a lifetime to overcome. It was The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. I took it home and devoured this book. It was the combination of the poetic style used to express deep philosophical, spiritual ideas that inspired me. I hoped one day in my own life to create something as profound as this work. It inspired me to write poetry, to aspire to the profound expression of truth through the poetic form. First semester freshman year at UMass, I took my first of 2 required rhetoric classes. The teacher was a writer from Springfield, Mass., who was most likely just doing the teaching to finance his writing habit. But he delivered the goodies, the existentialists. He had us read Samuel Beckett's Waiting for Godot, Sartre's No Exit, Camus' The Myth of Sisyphus. But the most important event was my introduction to Jorge Luis Borges. The brilliant, blind Argentine author stimulated me in ways that had never been satisfied before. It came through a copy of his work, Labyrinths, which I carried around through my travels, read and reread for 2 decades, and probably still have somewhere in storage. This writer, more than any other, inspired me. His work is labyrinthian. It is aphorism and koan and poetry and the twilight zone on a page. Surreality. He is a literary version of Dali, and all of my work, written and visual, has been strongly influenced by the effect his work has had on me. I enjoyed reading all of these works in part because I could pick a page at random and get something of spiritual value. This inspired the idea behind all the writing I've done, to try to compose things that offer just the crux or core of an idea that expands one's worldview without much preamble or fluff to get to the point. These were just some of my literary heroes, people that I still carry within me through their words and ideas. There are so many, more than I know, I will wish I mentioned after publication. Like all the science fiction I've consumed and been affected by, Robert Heinlein's Stranger in a Strange Land, the title alone says everything about my journey on Earth. But this work had a profound effect on my early intellectual development. Ursula K. Le Guin's The Dispossessed inspired my exploration into viable alternative social structures. Jean Auel's, Auel, Clan of the Cave Bear, and the rest of her Earth's Children series of novels provided a realistic understanding of prehistory, how we lived life on Earth before history, 30,000 years ago, when Neanderthals and modern humans coexisted, just before the latter's apparent extinction, and Zecharia Sitchin's The 12th Planet and the rest of his Earth Chronicles series. But all that we can get into at another time. Okay, just one more. Ayn Rand. All of her works are all about integrity. I read Anthem in 8th grade just for fun, without giving away too much of the magic of this thin yet profound novel. It is the autobiography of a person in a society that does not have the word I. The summer before we had to move out of our house, I was reading her Atlas Shrugged, What a Page Turner, which when it's done, you're so glad that her other book of comparable length and profundity, The Fountainhead, is there to satisfy the separation anxiety that always comes after reading a great book. But eventually, it's just you, back out there on the street, all alone, like after a short, intense love affair having to go on, but now with the memory of the love and its absence, trying to live your best of what you learned and felt during your time of being completely enthralled, when everything else in life is just something in the way or just to be gotten through, till you can get back with your new love, a book. Years went by, and then one day I finally picked up her autobiographical novel, We the Living. Powerful. She is definitely one of my literary heroes. Yep, that's it.